Welcome into the show, everybody. I'm Marc Farzy. This is the Farzy Show. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. And yes, we are still in the paternity leave portion of the show, the paternity leave power hour, however much time I can get in with you guys. I'm going to try to get in, and we're going to try to get everything in with the NFL, the NBA. Ben Simmons still a Sixer. Tyrese Halliburton saying, do you want to trade for me or not? Because I just dropped 38 on you guys. It was an insane weekend. Tom Brady retiring, or is he? I think he is, but he's not. Let me ask his dad. Dad said no, but Tom probably. So we got a lot to get into. And the Philadelphia Flyers snapped their 13-game losing streak. How about that? Scott Law with a game winner in overtime. Cam Atkinson a couple of goals. You love to see it. Finally, snapping that 13-game losing streak. But we'll start off with this. Let's try to go with some chronology here, a little chronological order, if you will. But we'll keep it with the main thing, which was football yesterday. Tom Brady. We'll start it off with this over the weekend. News breaks from multiple outlets, mainly from Adam Schefter, saying that Tom Brady is going to retire after 22 NFL seasons, 7 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl MVP awards, 3 league MVP awards, and the all-time leading passer, all-time leading touchdown thrower and stuff and all that stuff. But we know him as the guy that dropped the ball in the Super Bowl. So that's fun. I've seen a number of media outlets. I think one was Bleacher Report, a couple of sports books. ESPN was another one. I think Sports Illustrated did it as well. I've seen a number of outlets ask the question of whether or not Tom Brady is the greatest athlete ever. And when you say Tom Brady an athlete, like those things right there, like when you think of athleticism, you don't really think of Tom Brady. But he's a guy who plays the sport. So whether you want to call him a player, whatever semantics you want to use, here's how I'll term it. Tom Brady is the single greatest player of sport. He's the single greatest athlete. He's the single greatest player, participant in sports. I don't know how you want to phrase it, whatever. He's the greatest to ever play. Better than Jordan, better than Gretzky, which were the 2 guys in my lifetime that I've watched that have been the greatest to do anything ever. Tom Brady's better than both those guys. Both those guys had core teams. You had the Oilers, obviously, with Wayne Gretzky, that were a juggernaut in the 80s. Nobody could touch him. And then he never won anything after that. He went to the Cup one year with the LA Kings. They lost to the Canadiens. And you had Barry Melrose as the head coach that couldn't win with him, and Luc Robitaille and all those guys. So he didn't win anything after that. Jordan, even though I was a kid, I was a kid with the 80s and the Oilers and all that. But really, when I was a kid, if anything I learned from Last Dance, it was how much Michael Jordan needed those guys around him. And one of the reasons that was the Last Dance was because he probably didn't think he could win again after that. And then after it wasn't even really competition anymore, when he was, 38, 39, 40 years old playing for the Wizards, that's when he came back. When it wasn't really even coming, I'm not really supposed to do anything. I just want to show these young guys how you're supposed to go about your business in the NBA. So Jordan had 2 core teams that he won 2 separate three-peats with. Tom Brady's team literally changed, and he still won a Super Bowl. And he went from the Patriots to the Buccaneers. And then, as we all know, many times over while he was in there in New England for 20 years, his team changed over and over and over and over again. And he still won. The one year you thought, oh, wow, he's loaded up. Tom Brady. It was a Spygate year. Tom Brady. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be the year he's going to light the league on fire. Well, he did that. And they lost the Super Bowl. And they lost another one when they lost to the Giants the second time. And then they just, by the skin of their teeth, still won. They beat the Seattle Seahawks. In the game I was at, actually fist bumped Will Ferrell before the game. It was great. But they still won those Super Bowls. They won that Super Bowl. And, of course, he lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, which always just makes you feel great. But since then, he's still won 2 other Super Bowls. Last one in New England, and then his one last year when he was with the Buccaneers. I look at him and I see a guy that everything has changed around him many times over. He's the one constant. Even leaving Bill Belichick his first year away, wins a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. He is, to me, the greatest participant in the history of American sport. I don't think there's been anybody better, and it pains me to say it because I know he beat the Eagles at one time. I know he beat the Eagles most recently, and it'll be the last team that he beat in the NFL. In fact, if he does become officially retires. But to me, I think he's the greatest that has ever played. It pains me to say that. It's one of those things where you hate the guy, but you respect him. And that's what he did throughout his career. He earned a lot of people's respect. Not a lot of people rooting for him, but he earned a lot of people's respect. Now let's get to the games, because the games are just insane. Imagine being the NFL, and I know I got into this. Last week a little bit, but imagine being the NFL, and you decide, you know what, we're finally going to do it. We're going to go to an 18-week schedule. That means a 17-game schedule, and we're going to expand the playoffs for a second straight year. Imagine doing that as the NFL, and then you not only have the regular season come down to the very last seconds of the regular season, the very last second of week 18, you then go on to have the most insane playoff runs from all these teams. You had what? Two clunkers, really, when you think about it, in the first round of the playoffs. One was the Patriots. They got blown out by the Bills. Then the other one after that, unfortunately, was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then everything else after that was, kicker's going to come into this game and really have a huge deciding factor. Like, I want to be a kicker next year. I really do. I want to be a kicker walking into training camp next year, because you know those guys are just dripping with a little extra swagger walking into training camp next year based on how important they've been exactly this year, and this year especially in the playoffs. They have been bonkers important in the playoffs this year. And yesterday was no short of that. No shortage of that in the conference championship games. Those games after the divisional round of the playoffs are even more intense. And you saw last night the Chiefs game, yesterday afternoon, you saw the Chiefs game going to overtime. And if you didn't see this is insane. You saw Josh Allen when it went to the coin toss in overtime. You saw Josh Allen of the Bills tweet out just pain, period. That's it. And it's like, I feel that guy's pain. And when Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs won that coin toss in overtime to get the ball first, all of Kansas City erupted. Barbecue sauce was flying all over the place in great jubilation because they were really thinking that they were going to win that game because Patrick Mahomes was getting the ball first. Not so fast. Bengals ended up getting the ball. Bengals ended up winning the game. And it was nuts. If you didn't see it yesterday, what the heck is the matter with you? 27-24, Bengals get the win in overtime. And Joe Burrow, it's the weirdest thing. I have never looked at a young quarterback like Joe Burrow and thought to myself, in the waning moments of a game where you're losing or the game's in the balance, I can't remember a time I looked at a guy that young. I mean, Patrick Mahomes certainly would be up there, but he's maybe the only other one. And a great deal in between those two, thinking, you still got a shot, that kind of thing. But even with Patrick Mahomes, there was some kind of trust factor, even in his second year, where you just still didn't know a lot about. You knew he was very talented. You know he could make the circus throws, the no-look throws, all that stuff. But you still felt like you were learning him. But watching Joe Burrow this year in particular, knowing the weapons around him, which has a lot to do with it, knowing the quick strike offense that they can have as well, I never thought that they were out of it. I had a very similar feeling watching Patrick Mahomes in that game yesterday, and a very similar feeling to the way I was watching Joe Burrow play in that game as well. Where at any moment, not maybe if it wasn't just the quarterback, but more so the weapons, at any moment, this guy could come back. And when Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid called that play at the end of the first half and executed it the way they executed it, I thought to myself, Joe Burrow this is going to be a game. Because think about this for a second. Before we dissect that last play, and we'll get into that. Guess who I have for you? I got Andy Reid for you in his post-game press conference. That'll get you in the feels, in the Wayback Machine for every Eagles fan watching. But if you're the Bengals, you're getting that game. You're getting out of the first half unscathed, essentially. You're down, 11 at that point, but you're still feeling, I'm really in this game. So they march down the field. They get an opportunity with 5 seconds left on the clock, no timeouts, to punch the football in and take a huge lead. Could have taken a 28-10 lead, the Chiefs, before halftime. Could have punched it in, taken a 28-10 lead before halftime, and then they got the ball in the second half to start things off. They received in the second half. So theoretically, you could have all of a sudden had a 35-10 point turnaround. That's okay. We all know that's nuts. 35-10 was what it could have been if you scored there and then scored again after halftime. Instead, Andy Reid calls a play where he sends a man out into the flat. Again, 5 seconds, no timeouts. End of the first half. You want to at least make sure you get the field goal here. Two-parter. One part. Yes, Patrick Mahomes, no way, shape, or form, should have made that throw that he made at that point in the game. That was a dumbass play. Patrick Mahomes is one of the most entertaining, most incredible quarterbacks I've ever watched. That was a dumbass play. It was also a dumbass play call. Why are any of your receiving options not in the end zone? Like, hey, how's this play designed up? Well, here's the one play. You got this guy going here in the end zone, that guy going there in the end zone, that guy in there in the end zone, and then this guy's just going to kind of go to the flat, and hopefully it'll be like a decoy or something. No. Why would I want a decoy? We don't want a decoy. 5 seconds. Nobody's in the flat. Nobody's a decoy. Everybody in the end zone for multiple reasons. One, if there's a deflection, you just want as many guys in there as possible. Two, if you throw the ball away, there's a chance of getting a penalty if one of your guys in the end zone gets dragged down. Another opportunity to either kick a field goal if time runs out, or another opportunity to punch it in. It's just like, it's not even justifiable to not even have that guy in the end zone. So Andy Reid, dumbass play design. Patrick Mahomes, dumbass play to the way he executed it. After the game, this is a real treat for you guys. I'm glad I could do this for everybody. I'm glad we could all come together in this and just go back into the Wayback Machine for a second, where Andy Reid was actually asked about that last play call of the first half. And it just listening to it, it really does feel like we're stepping into the DeLorean. It really makes you feel like you're going all the way back in time here. There's a couple of things Andy Reid had to say after the game, but this is one of the most pressing things that a lot of people are talking about today. It's what happened at the end of the first half. Here's Andy Reid when he was asked about that.
Yeah, so I was hoping we could get the ball in the end zone. I probably gave him the wrong play, first of all. So to start with, I could have given him something better than that, where the play was open in the end zone, and then we wouldn't have to go through that. But it's I'll take responsibility for that one out.
Whew. I'll take responsibility for that one. That is forever in my mind. Like Donovan McNabb just had a bad game or a bad throw, or he had a bad play, mismanaged the clock, whatever. Like, it reminded me of Andy Reid, divisional round of the playoffs. Oh man, the guy's name is Mud right now. Jeff Garcia was your quarterback, 2006. Well, 2007 was the year after the 2006 season. Jeff Garcia is your quarterback. You go into New Orleans, and with the season on the line, Jeff Garcia throws to Thomas Tupe. Game over, season over, playoff run over. That was the play call. That's what it reminded me of with Andy Reid calling that play that he called at the goal line. And now Patrick Mahomes said, if we had to do over again, he would still make that play. He'd probably just throw different out of the end zone, whatever. It's just amazing to me that you can watch people that are really good at their jobs be all of a sudden really bad at their jobs in the biggest of moments. But I got to tell you, I'm happy for Cincinnati. I think Joe Burrow, he had two, not really known for being fleet of foot, had two great runs on 3rd and long for Cincinnati to help get him first down, help sustain drives. He's just entertaining to watch. Jamar Chase is insane. When we were talking all the way back, when we were talking to Brandon Graham months ago, I said, who do you want in the draft? And he said, Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase. And I was like, my man. And the Eagles traded back, and it was forget about that, unfortunately. Man, Jamar Chase, it's weird. I think just either either wide receivers just don't pan out here for whatever reason. I don't know, but you can always look at it and go, "Oh, what would he have done here?" And it's like, well, probably been misused by this team, unfortunately. And Devontae Smith, if he was there, what would he do out there? Would he still be would he be as good as Jamar Chase? Probably not, but still pretty damn good with a guy like Joe Burrow throwing the football. So I'm happy for him. I find him extremely entertaining. And the thing is with Joe Burrow, if you thought he had swagger before he was winning playoff games, imagine if he actually wins a Super Bowl. Because now he's playing in a Super Bowl. 25 years old, Joe Burrow, playing in a Super Bowl. And you always got to think about this with the young guys. You never know when you're going to be back. You can't say it enough. Marino went, his rookie year, the year after his rookie year, and then never went back again? It's amazing. It's amazing to think about it. One last thing with Andy Reid. If this doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Andy Reid was asked about if the Bengals made any major adjustments defensively, because there was a point in this game from late in the second quarter to early in the fourth quarter where the Bengals went on a 21-0 run, to use a basketball term. And here is how Andy Reid talked about any major adjustments that the Bengals were making. He said, not really.
Not really. I mean, they played a little bit more man on second down. But other than that, no, not really. So we just, I can put the players in better positions to make plays. I didn't get that part done.
Oh, all right. So we got the, what did we get there? We got the, his responsibility, and we got better position to make plays. Folks, the guy was a coach here in Philadelphia 23 years ago. Got to give him credit for being consistent, both in losing the big games, although he did win a Super Bowl, credit to him. And then the other is the same stuff after every game. He literally memorized lines like he was in the fifth grade play in 1999, and then he just kept on running the same script. Got to give him credit for that. I still really like Patrick Mahomes. Wish him all the success in the world. I know people are annoyed the hell out of it. His brother seems annoying as hell. His wife is interesting. I didn't the champagne thing. I didn't understand why that was such a big deal. I didn't get it, but people were really pissed off about that. So that happened. And then the other thing, his brother dancing and stuff. I don't need it. And I like the idea that when he had that battle with the restaurant about a month ago, Patrick Mahomes' brother had the battle with the restaurant. I like that the restaurant was like, oh, yeah, we don't care. We don't need your business. I was like, good for you, restaurant. Way to be on top of it. I don't know what happened in these games yesterday, but some of these coaches were just getting flat out kooky. Rams, 49ers. Rams won that game 20-17. That was also another incredible game. Sean McVay was, I don't know what his deal was with challenging the fumble that happened in the fourth quarter of that game by the 49ers, but he challenged it, even though it looked like every replay showed, I think, was it Samuel running the football, that he was down by contact and then fumbled. Either way, that's what he decided to do at a very crucial point in the game, and it cost him a timeout. Didn't end up hurting him because they ended up winning, but still just wild to me that I believe they said during the broadcast, Sean McVay is challenged once during the regular season, lost it, I believe, and then yesterday challenged twice in the game to no avail. I guess you keep on trucking, I guess. But what was really wild to me was Matthew Stafford clearly got rolled up on in this game. Was not as good throwing the deep ball as he had been. Tart dropped that interception that would have been all but game sealing if he would have come up with that one. That was when the Rams were down 17-14. They end up coming back, tying the game at 17, then end up coming back to win the game on the game-winning field goal. Again, another field goal to win the game. But it was a wild game. Odell Beckham Jr. was all over the place in that game. Cooper Kupp was all over the place in that game. And Jimmy Garoppolo has been the subject of a lot of criticism really throughout this year. And I don't know why it is. I don't look at Jimmy Garoppolo and say, wow, franchise quarterback. But he did take the 49ers to a Super Bowl 3 years ago and was a game short after winning at Lambeau, was a game short of going back to another Super Bowl, second Super Bowl in 3 years, and people want to slander this guy's name all the time, and it just seems odd to me. But he comes up with nothing in the second half of that football game, absolutely nothing. And the main reason for that was Von Miller and Aaron Donald. I couldn't believe they were dominant in the line at the line of scrimmage. The 49ers offensive line was doing a great job earlier in the football game, but in that fourth quarter, it was like a switch was flipped by Von Miller and Aaron Donald. They played insane. Secondary played great as well, but the defensive line really, especially the last two possessions by the 49ers, really stepped up in the face of Jimmy Garoppolo, made him throw some really errant passes, and also rushed those throws to, of course, finally the game-sealing interception at the very end of the game where Aaron Donald was able to get in there behind the line of scrimmage and wreak some havoc, as they say. I am very excited for the Super Bowl. If you like points, I think there's going to be a Super Bowl where points are going to be really enjoyable. But you got to be thinking right now, Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense is really going to be studying that defensive line of the LA Rams. And how about this? After never being able to have, after never having a Super Bowl being played by the team that hosts it in the team's home stadium, they did it last year, and they're doing it again this year. They did it last year with Tampa Bay, at Tampa Bay, and now they're doing it with LA, with the Rams, at the Rams. So, as fate would have it, I guess, it's going to be a Rams-Bengals Super Bowl, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be exciting. Let's get to the Sixers now. I am pretty amazed by the 76ers, pretty amazed by Joel Embiid. The Sixers, if you remember, they had a 3-game winning streak in the middle of December. And some people were thinking, hit the panic button, trade whoever for Ben Simmons and get him now. Take a lot less than what you're. I'll take picks. It doesn't matter. Just get Ben Simmons off of the books here. And since then, the 76ers have won 15 games. They are 15-14 in their last 19 games. And in the month of January alone, Joel Embiid is averaging 2 more points than he is minutes in the month of January. He has scored 34 points per game while averaging 32 minutes per game throughout this month. And he's well averaging over a double-double. And his last 5 games, you have really seen those assist numbers start to pile up, just like the 1-point win against the hapless Kings, who apparently just pulled out of any trade consideration for Ben Simmons, or any real trade right now with Daryl Morey and the 76ers. If Halliburton's a part of that, can we make it happen? Anyway, the Sixers aren't there yet. And maybe that'll change with the trade deadline now just 10 days away. But the way I look at it right now with the 76ers, you got to get whoever you can that can help this team win now. If that means you can get picks, you can use those picks in the offseason, maybe bring somebody else in like a James Harden or somebody else that could help this team win a little bit. But right now, what I'm watching with the 76ers team is a team that desperately needs to get help to the man himself, Joel Embiid. And I know that is not an uncommon thing to say. It's a very popular thing to say. It's almost to the point of cliche. But I don't believe that the Sixers are trading Ben Simmons before February 10th. I don't believe that is happening. If they can somehow move Tobias Harris and bring in somebody like Tyrese Halliburton and they do something different in that regard, I'm all for it. Because here's one thing. I see Tyrese Maxey continue to take steps forward and improve his game. As a point guard, as a shooter, as a guy who slashes to the rim, I see him getting better and better every single day. Tobias Harris is maxed out already. He's played better, a lot better, and that's helped his trade value. But imagine what this team could be if they keep on taking those steps forward with guys that are consistent scorers from the outside. Guys that will allow Joel Embiid to play a lot more comfortable under the basket and not always have to worry about coming out to the top. He plays great out there. I'm not saying he shouldn't be out there. I'm just saying he won't have to do it as much. And as great as it is, as great as it is that he brings the ball up from time to time, I'd rather just, hey man, you take those plays, take those dribbles off. You just take those dribbles off. Go get under the paint, get on the block, get the foul line extended, whatever it might be. Work inside the 3-point line and craft your magic from there, because that's where he's at his most dangerous. I know he can shoot threes, and I like him shooting threes. I'm not saying don't shoot threes, but I like him at the most when he's playing inside the 3-point line and he's going hard to the rim and he's getting fouled. He's getting their team in foul trouble. He's going to the line. He's hitting his foul shots. If you get somebody to play on the outside better than what you're getting right now, that's ultimately what this team needs. Hey, if Tobias Harris continues this upward trend, maybe you don't need to make a trade. Maybe he will be that solid number 2 to a guy like Joel Embiid. But, man, that's got to be a quicker turnaround than what we're seeing so far. He's already started it. That's great. I doubt it'll get to that 20 to 25 points per game type of range that you really need from a number 2 scorer behind Joel Embiid. Clock's ticking on Daryl Morey. He said a couple of weeks ago that he understands that you got to do something to make sure that they're not wasting the time and the prime years of Joel Embiid's career. Well, I think the deal gets done. A deal gets done by February 10th. I just don't think it involves Ben Simmons, unfortunately. But one of the things I did think was interesting in this game that was right after you saw Joel Embiid you saw the news come out that the Kings are no longer interested in making a deal with the Sixers. Thought it was interesting that was the night that Tyrese Halliburton came out and dropped 38 on you. And when you saw the way he was attacking the rim, when you saw how he was shooting from the outside, like if that wasn't an audition tape for Daryl Morey to be like, dude, lower your price and just trade for me, I don't know what was. But if you can get him here in a Sixers uniform, I know a lot of people right now. I saw friend of the show, Michael Kasky-Blomain, actually put it out there saying that there is not a single Sixers fan at the Wells Fargo Center right now that wouldn't trade for Tyrese Halliburton. And I believe he's correct. I believe he's correct in that regard. What else do I have? Oh, before I get to these, I want to make sure I give these to you as well. Before I get to these, let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Folks, Emerald City Rose. It is pristinely beautiful. That's not what I was showing you. The other thing was not at all pristinely beautiful. For the people on the podcast, Yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now. All it was the guy yesterday in the Chiefs outfit and the Dallas Cowboy hat. Just no is all I have to say to that. But this right here is the Steven Singer gold dipped Emerald City Rose, just $59 at Steven Singer Jewelers. Guys, Valentine's Day, guess what? 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away, Valentine's Day. So hit up my friend Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right on Jewelers Row, right in Philadelphia for over 40 years in the love business. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Check out all their inventory and order a gold dip rose for just $59. It gets here in time for Valentine's Day. So do what I do with all your big jewelry purchases, for all your big holidays, for all your big birthdays, for just to say I love you. Go to IHateStevenSinger at IHateStevenSinger.com. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, and get treated with the perfect price and get treated like family every single time. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every single day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. All right. Now, there was one star of the show I haven't really gotten to yet, and it's the speaker. The speaker in the background of CBS's halftime show during Bengals and Chiefs. You couldn't hear the people doing the broadcast. They couldn't hear each other. I don't know who was performing. I don't know music. I know Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Dave Matthews Band. That's about it. That pretty much covers my musical knowledge. After that, I don't really have a lot. So I don't know who was playing yesterday, but all I know is they were a lot louder than anybody else was supposed to be heard on TV. And now here's the thing. I've been a part of their rehearsals on the field before the game. And they're supposed to be textbook. They're supposed to be, if this is how you're doing it during the thing, this is how we're doing it during our thing. And apparently it wasn't like that. Either that or somebody was really getting yelled at. Like, hey, do you hear the speaker? What speaker? The speaker right there. Somebody really messed that one up. So if you didn't see that yesterday, I'm sure you'll just flip through some memes. Once again, by the way, I'm not doing a chat check right here simply because I'm not live. But here's what I will do. I'll peruse the chat after the show because, again, for those that don't know, my wife and I had our second child. So I'm on paternity leave right now, quote unquote. So I'm getting a show in when I can, basically. In all honesty, I'm taping this at like 12:30 at night, Sunday night. 12:30 in the morning, I guess, technically. But anyway, so that's what I got. That was crazy. CBS, that was nuts. Then this, also at the Bengals game yesterday. I don't know who this person thinks they are, but if they're not related to somebody on both the Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs, then they should be thrown out of any arena ever in all of sports. This person was shown for maybe a total of 2.5 seconds at most during the Bengals-Chiefs game in the stands with a Cowboys hat and a Kansas City Chiefs Patrick Mahomes jersey. At least I think it's a Patrick Mahomes jersey. Who knows? Maybe it's a Joe Montana 19, I believe is the number he wore when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. It was either 19 or 16. I can't remember which was which. But anyway, this is what happens when the bandwagon gets way too bumpy and you jump on another bandwagon. All right? This is what happens when you really liked the team in the 90s and then all of a sudden your actual local team started to do well. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know who this guy is, but good God, man. Have a little self-respect for yourself. And I also think he has smelly fingers. Just by the look of him, he smelled his fingers. That's all he was doing for those 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds. I don't know what it is. And let's go from bad to great. Here's a picture of the parking lot yesterday at Arrowhead Stadium. This is nuts. This is Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow's dad, Jimmy Burrow, and Jamar Chase's dad, Jimmy Chase. Couple of Jimmys hanging out in the parking lot. And they're just both smoking cigars, enjoying the hell. This is from LSU football, obviously, and just enjoying the hell out of their sons, also who won a national title with LSU with the Tigers. Now have a chance to win a Super Bowl title at the NFL level. This is like one of the best things I saw yesterday on Twitter. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Like every son wants to make their dad that proud one day, like cigar smoking proud. You know what I'm saying? By the way, what happened to the old tradition of like smoking cigars at the hospital? It's like frowned upon now. I like lit one up right in the delivery room, and they're like, okay, I didn't, but you get the idea. Let me tell you about the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics, ladies and gentlemen. Rothman Orthopaedics will get you back to being you with the Rothman approach to orthopedics. They'll get you back to running, walking, playing, back to working, faster than you would even expect. With same-day appointments available right now, you can get started today with RothmanOrtho.com. That's Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Let me tell you about the amazing people at BetQL. Super Bowl right around the corner. BetQL has got you covered for all your betting research needs. Their best bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game. Player props, over, unders, everything. They even have a leaderboard for you to track your own success, and you'll have a lot of it when you use BetQL. So download the BetQL app right now and make the smart bets with the great people of BetQL. And you can make those smart bets on WinView. WinView, it's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who knows more? Who is the biggest sports fan? Have that friend or family member who thinks they know everything about sports? Challenge them to a WinView contest to see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. Download the WinView app right now to your phone and have yourself a good time by making predictions on the games that you love so much with WinView. Download the WinView app right now. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Thanks, everyone that participated in the show. I will be hitting up your comments tomorrow. I'll scan, peruse, go through them. I want to close with this. This is a little fun. Two little things happened yesterday that made me think about our friend Howie Roseman. One was Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes playing a wild game. Also, Mahomes took those two awful sacks at the end of regulation that led to a field goal. They were like knocking on the doorstep, but he took awful sacks. Anyway, just a terrible game of Patrick Mahomes. I go Patrick Mahomes before I go Andy Reid in terms of who was to blame more for that game yesterday. But yesterday, it was wild to me watching Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and this is what got me thinking. Howie Roseman, the year they drafted and traded up to get Carson Wentz, I can't remember if it was crystal ball, if that was the comment or not, or if I made fun of Howie for saying he was looking into the future. I believe he said, we looked into the future. I believe that was the quote. And we didn't see any quarterbacks coming out that were going to be worthy of moving up to get. So in 2016, they drafted this kid out of North Dakota State named Carson Wentz. You know what happened there. But the very next draft, do you know who was available? We looked into our crystal ball. We didn't see anybody coming. Okay. You know who was coming? You know who was on their way to the NFL? You know what's funny? Patrick Mahomes and a guy you consistently get tied to in trade rumors, Deshaun Watson. But somehow, someway, magically, you looked at his crystal ball and you didn't see those guys. That's nuts. That's crazy. Now, the Eagles ended up winning a Super Bowl, much thanks to the way Carson Wentz played throughout the regular season in his 13 games actually playing. And then Nick Foles and this Eagles defense kind of saw it the rest of the way through. So that was nice. But to make the comment, we looked into the future. We didn't see anybody else coming out. And then literally in the very next draft, an all-timer in Patrick Mahomes, not necessarily time to call him that right now after yesterday's performance, but still, nonetheless, pretty damn good. And then much later down the line, Joe Burrow comes out. Deshaun Watson came out in that same draft as Patrick Mahomes. The following year, I think, was Josh Allen. He came out in the draft. Lamar Jackson came out with the 32nd overall pick in the first round of that draft. It just did bonkers. Absolutely insane. So to me, that's just one thing I think of when I watch Patrick Mahomes. And then another young quarterback like Joe Burrow. I think, man, Carson Wentz, we're supposed to be like deep into this great franchise run with Carson Wentz. And man, that did not work out well. And then this is something else that made me think. As it turns out, Paramount has more confidence in Jalen Hurts than the Philadelphia Eagles, because Paramount used Jalen Hurts in a commercial to promote the Paramount Plus network, I believe is what it's called. And let's see, Butthead was in it, of Beavis and Butthead fame, and a whole bunch of other famous people. And I don't know why I only remember Butthead, but that's who I remember of Beavis and Butthead. It was in the commercial, and Jalen Hurts singing the Halo theme, and the guy from Halo's there. I wasn't a Halo guy, so I don't play Halo. But like they're there, and Jalen Hurts is in that thing, and I'm like, what the hell is Jalen Hurts? What? But I'm like, wow, Paramount thinks this guy's going to be around a while, unlike the Eagles, who apparently are trying to trade him at every drop of a hat. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, if Paramount believes, then why shouldn't more people believe in Jalen Hurts? Like I do. Like I believe in Jalen Hurts, for instance. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. I appreciate you guys hanging with me as we do this paternity power half hour for this week and next week. As my wife and I continue to get used to being a family of four, man. It's a good time. It's a good time. Thanks a lot. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Also, if you're watching this live at 6 a.m., I will do a hit with our friends at Fox 29, 7:45 today. So make sure you guys don't miss that. I promise you I'll wear a nice blue shirt, as per usual. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.